See Boston at plus 550.
Nope.
Only behind Denver at 5-1. I know you're going to bet that.
Oh,
because
no.
this year, three's a charm, right?
Oh, no.
Next year is going to be Boston's year.
No.
Joe Mazzulla's going to be more experienced. He's going to be ready to go, and Ryan Horvath's going to tell us at some point, guys, I did it. I bet the Boston Celtics to win a title, even though I said I wouldn't do it. That's what you do. You will do it.
Not next year.
It's just like betting. It's like betting the Angels to win the division. Every year you do it.
I'm not touching anybody in the East next year. It's going to be the Nuggets. It's going to be a repeat for the Nuggets if they get it done this year. I don't want to jinx them. Jokic could get hurt or something like that. But
yeah, I think that's safe to say. If you force me to decide between those two specifically, yeah, I go over. He's going to play a ton of minutes unless the Denver Nuggets are blowing out the Miami Heat in that first game. And if you look at teams in the NBA Finals that have home court advantage with 5 or more days rest, those teams are 8-1 in game ones. Now go look at how Denver handled Phoenix in game one, how they handled the Minnesota Timberwolves in game one, how they handled the Los Angeles Lakers in game one. Those were dominant performances by Denver in front of the Mile High City crowd. So there's a chance that Spoelstra saying, hey, you want to know what? We got to steal one of two. We're down 17 going into the fourth. Our guys are not going to play, and then Jokic will sit. And we've seen bettors get burned by that throughout these playoffs in those blowout wins. I would look at, honestly, guys, I'd look at Jokic's triple-double numbers. This season against the Miami Heat, he's averaging 23 points, 12 rebounds, and 10 assists. Jokic can put together a triple-double in 3 quarters now. We've seen it. We've seen it repeatedly. So if forced to decide, that's probably where I would lay my coin.
Just really quick before Ryan asks you something I'm sure very important. Just a disgusting price. Nikola Jokic triple-double plus 100. That's an insane price when you think about Jimmy Butler's 15-1 for a triple-double. Yeah. That's how often Nikola Jokic is getting triple-doubles. You're just getting basically even money.
Yeah, I completely.
It's crazy because I'm sorry, not to interrupt. I was just going to say this is what he averages, guys. Like he averaged, if they did not shut him down at the end of the season, he would have averaged a triple-double for the 1 seed in the Western Conference. Now, do me a favor and go into Google and say all-time NBA triple-doubles list. You will see Nikola Jokic looking down at some of the greatest that have ever played the game. He just turned 28 years old. I believe he's cracked the top 5. I know he's as far up as 6. The all-time list, guys. Again, normally NBA players don't hit their prime until they're about 27 historically. Jokic just turned 28, and he's a top 6 triple-double producer all time. We've also never seen someone average a triple-double in a series win over the course of a Western Conference Finals. That's what we just saw as well. I mean, trying to quantify the greatness of Jokic, and the masses are just coming around to what we've seen for a couple of years now, despite even being the MVP of the league. To try to quantify his greatness, it is a tall task.
Denver's an 8.5-point favorite in that. That total's low. It's only 219.5. We know that Denver and the Lakers, you got a lot more scoring than what you got with Boston and the Heat last round. This kind of has the feel to me of Miami's going to have to keep up with what Denver's doing a little bit. I know Miami is great defensively, but this matchup of Nikola Jokic, there's nobody that can stop Nikola Jokic. I'm sorry, Bam's got no shot. We saw Anthony Davis already try, had no shot. He's nowhere near the size of him. You can't do it. They're going to
throw multiple bodies at Jokic.
And they're going to have to do that, which leaves guys open like Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. on the perimeter. This is going to be by far the biggest test that the Miami Heat have had throughout this improbable run that they've made.
Real quick, so I believe that the markets are telling you, based on the total, based on the odds for series prices, based on how many games they believe it's going to go, for it to go under 4.5 games, I believe it's like plus 150 or something like that.
Yeah.
All of the odds tell you, the total tells you that they believe Miami's going to be able to slow this down, play at their pace, and that they're going to be able to get a couple games from Denver. Otherwise, if they believe that Denver was going to play at their pace, then you're getting totals in the 220s, high 220s, because it's not Denver that's going to want to slow the pace down. It's Miami.
Yep.
Unless they believe that Denver is just going to run away with it and blow Miami out by 25. But the series prices aren't telling you that.
Really big article that I'll update throughout the summer on the BetMGM blog. I was really interested in looking at the top numbers. It's all the programs you expect. It's Clemson. It's Ryan's Notre Dame squad at 8.5. It's half the SEC. It's like all the big programs, and then kind of nestled in there in the top section of the win totals is Washington. And I was a little surprised by that, but I do some digging. I look at what they have coming back. Penix Jr. is actually, in terms of just pure passing yardage, #1 returning quarterback in Power 5 football. He had more than Caleb Williams down the coast at USC. So I do think Washington is a really interesting play there. The juice is on the under. I think they go to 10 wins this year. I really like the Washington over. And then just like a pocket here. The Big Ten West had 4 teams last year that won more than 6 games or won 7 games or more. But when you look at what those Big Ten West teams are at this year, right now, still early summer, there's only one team that has a win total of over 6.5. That's Wisconsin. And Wisconsin wasn't one of those 4 teams last year. So unless there's just a total cratering in the Big Ten West, I think the market is actually really soft on a lot of those teams in the Big Ten West, and I would be looking to play some overs there. I want to do a little bit more digging before I call out specific teams by name, but just looking at the market as a whole, you see what a crater there is there, and there's definitely some opportunities to bet.
If we're looking at teams right now, not just the AFC, but the NFL, and you said, who's going to be in full tank mode? You would say probably the Arizona Cardinals.
For sure.
Because Kyler's going to be out half of the year.
Yeah.
All right?
They might even have
But a lot of teams in the NFC, the Bears now, I'm sure, don't want to win 3 games again next year.
No.
The Rams may be bad, but it's not going to be on purpose. So they just will be bad because Matt Stafford's not healthy and things are falling apart there.
Yeah.
But most of the teams in the NFC either feel that things are wide open and they got an opportunity, or they could be better. That was the Marlins game, Padres. Yeah, sorry, Trysta.
It's a rough night of baseball.
Take a nap. Just take a quick rest. Woo-saw. But here, even look at the AFC. The Houston Texans could be better. Right? They could win 5 games. They won 3 last year. The Colts only won 4. They could be better.
Yeah.
Denver, I think, is going to be better. The Titans are maybe the only team in the AFC that could seriously regress. I mean, the Raiders could be... The Raiders right now, if Jimmy Garoppolo does not play this season...
Or does.
And they can't figure it out, or does...
Let's say it.
Could still be the worst team in the NFL. One thing to say, I don't know what Nick Nurse is going to do to translate over in Philadelphia and what they're... It's even more when you have a rookie head coach and you know nothing about them.
I can tell you this about Adrian Griffin. He was Nick Nurse's right-hand man.
Yeah.
And Nick Nurse stepped aside and said he didn't want the Milwaukee Bucks job. I don't know if it was 100% that or if Giannis didn't want him. But the fact that Adrian Griffin comes in and takes the job that could have been offered to Nick Nurse tells you pretty much that he's got all of the capabilities. And we saw Darvin Ham step in and do a great job for the Lakers. As a guy who was like the next up assistant for a team that had championship aspirations. So, yeah, I think it's a really good hire. Father of AJ Griffin. I had a dream.
I know she said she'd tell this on air, so it's fine. Don't worry, Ryan.
Yeah, over the course of the weekend, where Kevin Ollie was in a wheelchair. He was permanently in a wheelchair, and he ran a swim facility. And it was like one of those super gyms, but all they did was have water. It wasn't like a water park. It was just like laps and like different the entire gym was different pools, and I was working. They had hired me or were going to hire me as like a swim instructor, but I can't swim. Like, I can't swim.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I can't swim.
You've never learned how to swim?
Not really. And
I
so
got a friend like this.
He's interviewing me for the job, and he's like, "Don't you know who I am? Why haven't you looked me in the eyes?" And I go, "To be honest, first of all, I can't swim, so I'm a little nervous." I had no shoes on. That was my dream.
Well, my biggest takeaway is that you can't swim.
I think it's great that you bring that up because what I think people forget when you're looking at, and I think we talked about this months ago when we were doing Super Bowl and so forth, and maybe even when we were talking NCAA tournament. This is a good market to be involved with potentially, even at this late juncture, in lieu of betting like the series price. If Nuggets at minus 450, well, Jokic is minus 350 to win the MVP. Now, before the playoffs started, he was 13-1, so obviously that would have been a really good number to get on. But Butler was 200-1 when the NBA Finals MVP opened. Now he's plus 350. So obviously it would have been great to get on him sooner. But and then his MVP number actually just happens to almost, at least at BetMGM, almost correspond with the Heat's odds to win the NBA Finals. Jamal Murray would have been good at 80-1 pre-playoffs, but he's still 12-1 now. I mean, if you like the Nuggets and you like the way Murray's been playing during the playoffs, and he's been playing pretty well. I mean, look, it's hard to overcome Nikola in this situation because he's such a dynamic player. But Murray's had a really good playoffs. You could still get him at 12-1 if you'd rather, if you think he's going to have a breakout little NBA Finals. Then maybe take him instead of laying 450 with the Nuggets. You get the 12-1 with Jamal Murray. So. But that's really the bottom. Those three are kind of they've had the most significant line movement at BetMGM. The ticket count is 1, 2, 3, Jokic, Murray, Butler. The handle is Jokic, Tatum, Murray. Tatum second in money. Obviously, he's gone. But the liability is, Murray, Jokic, and Butler. And Murray, obviously, a liability because he had such a long number, and Butler as well because you could have gotten some long numbers. It doesn't sound like too many people popped him at 200-1, but maybe they started riding him after that during or after that Milwaukee Bucks series.